Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And welcome to the Kickback Cafe, the show where we kick back, relax, and talk about anything but Disney. And in this case, yeah, it's definitely not Disney because it's not owned by Marvel Studios associated with Disney. It is a Fox. Can we say at this point that Fox is kind of like the knockoff Marvel Studio, or is that not fair to them?
No, I mean, they're only, at this point, they're kind of two out of three good stuff, you know? It's just... I mean, they're X-Men, so actually more so, I don't know why I'm counting Deadpool, not X-Men, but, you know, basically the X-Men are getting right, so really it's kind of half and half.
The X-Men, yeah, I mean, they've had good films and they've had bad films.
I'm saying I think now they're kind of getting on board. I think they've made up for their bad X-Men films at this point. I think they're good.
I hope so.
I think they're in the good now. I will guardedly say I think they're good right now. So I think there's like half and half right now in terms of overalls right now.
I'll just say I have more faith in Deadpool than I do in Age of Apocalypse. I'm not entirely sold on Age of Apocalypse.
You know, I think Age of Apocalypse will be fine, but it's not going to be as good as Deadpool. Because Deadpool's going to be a game changer. I'll bet you money on that one. Deadpool's going to be a game changer. I know.
And I've missed my chance to talk about Deadpool, so I won't even get into that.
Well, the good news is whenever we get another trailer, then we can talk about it.
Sure, of course. But, no, I think with X-Men, I don't know. My fear is that, like, Days of Future Past was so good that I just don't think it's going to live up to Days of Future Past.
Well, I think it's
with it.
Well, without getting too into it, because we're probably going to talk about it at some point soon. Once they release a trailer soon, I would hope. I think it's going to be. I like what they're doing so far. Is that each kind of X-Men movie has been kind of set in a different era. So '60s was First Class, '70s was Days of Future Past, and this one's going to be in the '80s, and it's going to be kind of the generation we know of the X-Men kind of being introduced into the fold, and being a big story relating to that. So basically, the idea of that story is that it's the first original mutant. In theory, the original mutant, who at least thinks he's the original mutant, coming into the fray, kind of stirring some trouble, trying to conquer the Earth and giving mutants bad names. That's going to be a big. The point is, this is a huge story for the X-Men, Tiki. And I don't know. I think it's going to be.
I know it's a huge story for the X-Men. Don't get me wrong. I realize.
I would argue that it's on the same caliber of a big story as like. I can't speak this myself. I'm saying X-Men fans really hold two stories in really high regard with the X-Men. Well, three stories if you count Dark Phoenix. Mm-hmm. The Days of Future Past, obviously, and Age of Apocalypse. Those are kind of the three biggies.
Okay.
I'm saying I give them. I think this one has all the potential in the world being really another good one. I mean, visually it looks great so far, but that's enough talking about that.
Yes, we're here to talk about something that did not have a lot of potential.
Some of that does not seem as good as Apocalypse may be.
So Chris Stuckman, he declared that this is possibly as bad as Batman and Robin. He said that this is the kind of comic book movie that was made like in the dreaded like 2000 to 2006 era that wasn't Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Oh, the dreaded bridging era.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to get there somehow, but basically this is the rickety bridge path, folks. It's like it's like remember in Shrek when they're walking the bridge. Essentially, that's it. It's like it's really rickety. I mean, it holds somehow and it gets you to where you need to go, but it's really scary.
So some of the films in that era were Ghost Rider, of course.
Steel. Well, no, I'm thinking a little early 290s.
Yeah. Let's see, Ghost Rider. I'd say the original two Fantastic Fours actually fit in there quite well.
I don't know. It's kind of like it kind of snuck past. Like the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans were good, but they were kind of like the Fantastic Four interspersed between the Spider-Man movies. But
certainly Daredevil, Elektra, stuff like that.
It was more of the hit or miss superhero.
Exactly, because you had Blade 2, and then you had Blade Trinity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. But, so I haven't seen it yet. That's the thing. That's what we're here to really break down because I'm excited.
Out on me, folks.
Yeah, I did. I did, man. Stuckman, dude. I mean, it's like, how can you watch the Stuckman review and still like? Did you go see this before you knew that I had chickened out?
Well, I was set to see it before you chickened out, and I had no intention of not going even after you chickened out.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
I'll tell you why.
I would just feel really guilty if like the only reason you saw it was because like, well, I have to do it with Tiki.
Now, let me walk you.
Reactions.
Let me walk you through why I saw this movie. Let me give you folks a little brief little thing here. I like to call the roller coaster of expectation. Let me give you a ride on that. So.
Sounds good.
Here's the roller coaster of expectation for the Fantastic Four movie, the 2015 one. Basically, here's my little timeline how I reacted to the news. So, they announced a Fantastic Four reboot in the works. I'm saying, oh, good, the Fantastic Four is getting another shot because, they kind of the Galactus cloud was kind of a bit much. I mean, we got to fix it from there. Come on. Then, of course, after some time passes, it kind of sinks in, Well, of course, the thing back of our minds, like, it belongs with Marvel. It always belongs with Marvel because that was their first family. Essentially, that was Stan Lee really made his mark with Fantastic Four. Yeah, he wrote a Captain America story too, but this is the one he made his mark on. Without this, we have no Marvel Universe.
That's why I think one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos is actually in the Fantastic Four movie when he's
Willie Lumpkin or the wedding.
Yeah, well, when he's welcoming Reed Richards back to the Baxter building.
It's Willie Lumpkin.
Yeah. Good to have you back, sir.
That's a sweet.
I'm like, oh man.
That's a touching
like the rest of that movie is just for the most part, but yeah, Stan Lee. I mean, is that the one thing that we can agree on with these Marvel movies that are hit and miss? Is that even in the worst Marvel movies, Stan Lee showing up is just like I
mean, again, I've told you my favorite Stan Lee cameo. I'm not saying this is the worst Marvel movie. I'm saying it's not one of the good ones. I love my favorite cameo is from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I still think it's a little.
I know, we're not going to get into it. Point is,
ask me how the pie was.
How was the pie, Tiki?
It's so good.
This is why people can't take your Stan Lee gripes to heart because you quote that pie line like crazy.
Dude, if you think I quote my pie line like crazy, like my pie line was like my go-to joke in high school. I must have drove my friends nuts with that pie line. I just was like going up to everyone like, "Hey, ask me how the pie was." They had no idea what the context was. They're not like us where they understand immediately. Like, oh yeah, we're talking about Spider-Man. We're talking about the pie.
Right. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
Again, roller coaster here. It's like, so good. The Fantastic Four is getting another shot at movies. We like the Fantastic Four. So, I mean, in best case, I mean, the X movies have been getting better at that time. So, yeah, maybe it was not going to be a complete lost cause. Fantastic Four getting another shot. Okay, so you hear that announced. Think, okay, I'll give it a shot. See what happens. Mm-hmm. Then we get more news. We hear of some out there choices and details. Which makes us wish Marvel owned them. A lot of news lately, like all the.
Okay, well, let's go over it. Does it have to do with the casting?
Well, I'm thinking less of the cast. Well, I mean, with the casting overall, they're really young, so that's the main thing with the casting. I'm not talking about the Human Torch. I mean specifically like the young casting, and also like Doctor Doom potentially being a blogger, which he's not, by the way. So rest assured, he's not a blogger.
He still doesn't work out very well.
He doesn't, but we'll get into it. So the point is, he's not a blogger. It's important though, because everyone thought going into it that was their big kind of cried wolf moment, like, oh, he's gonna be a blogger. No.
Okay, but you know what? Anyone who complained about the casting is just like wrong.
Well, look, I'll tell you this. I mean, look, when I heard you have some questions.
Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller.
I wasn't sold on Jordan until I saw Chronicle. That's when he sold. Yeah, I can buy.
Yeah, and Chronicle was where he broke out.
And I saw Teller and Whiplash, and he won me over.
Of course. Oh my God, Teller! Yeah, he just came out in Whiplash for sure.
And look, overall,
Jordan, he had a really like sad movie, like a really like I would not watch. It's a downer of a movie, but it's called Fruitvale Station, and I don't even want to get into the plot of that one because it's just really depressing. But it shows his acting chops for sure.
All right. Again, so basically, there's some controversial choices. The biggest one for me being, and then I'll bring up other things like the changing of the origin, which kind of. That was the thing that really stuck in my craw until I heard some stuff that kind of swayed my opinion, which I'll get into in a millisecond here. It's just, it's just basically they don't do like this. They're astronauts going into space and hit by the cosmic rays, and they announce there's going to be negative zone or something like negative zone. And I was thinking,
okay, you know what? I actually thought that the interdimensional thing was more interesting than just like it's up in space and it's a wormhole or whatnot.
Well, eventually I was won over on that part. But anyway, so because Negative Zone is Fantastic Four specifically. I mean, it is tie in there. But anyway, so always we hear these out there choices, and the really things are basically really different. You know, CGI thing, really young cast, and basically you wish Marvel at this point again, you wish Marvel would own them because they're really deviating.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't see Marvel having a practical effects thing either.
Yeah, but no, I mean, their Hulk looks fantastic.
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely, it would look a lot better. I'm just saying, in terms of CG, Marvel does use a lot of CG.
They do.
You know,
I'm just saying in general. This is like the feared consensus of like all the stuff, and basically saying, oh man, I really wish they were owned by Marvel because they're doing everything differently than we were used to with the Fantastic Four. And the big thing I was worried about was like they were kind of going with the Ultimate Fantastic Four, which I'm just not crazy with the Ultimate stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
That's unfair to the Ultimate stuff. That's just my view. Like I can never get into it. It's too different for me. But unfortunately, Ultimate Spider-Man failed in trying to get me into it because the animated series is so terrible.
Oh, what are you, not a Miles Morales fan?
No. I'm talking about the animated show. The animated show.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Hey, honestly, I don't read Miles against Ultimate, so I didn't really read it. But he seems like a cool guy so far, and I haven't really read a lot of him. Seems okay. Anyway, so
I am very, very, very hesitant on the direction that the Spider-Man movie's going in, but I've said that before. We won't get into that right now.
Not now.
I know.
But anyway, so so then some time passes, and then basically like a few other trailers come out. Like a second trailer, I believe, is the one I'm talking about here. Is that basically you see a sci-fi angle. Basically, in time passes, and we're getting closer, like this year at this point, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And you basically see it in trailers. It's going for more of a sci-fi angle. You know, the design.
Okay, well, Josh Trank in an interview specifically said he wanted to go in a David Cronenberg angle with it.
Yes.
Like that was like a huge, like, major direction. So what did you think of that when you heard about the Cronenberg stuff?
Well, the honest, I didn't really have, and I kept up with the movie. I didn't keep up with all the intricate stuff. Like I didn't hear the Cronenberg.
Okay.
I didn't know about it. I noticed like there was a bit of a sci-fi angle. You know, the music sounded really good in the trailer. But I mean, the point is the designs in the trailer are looking kind of neat, like the settings and the landscapes. So the point is it's starting to look a little interesting. This is going to sound silly, but here are the two things that won me over. Okay, one that started to really win me over in terms of like this is like getting close to like the last few months before the thing came out. So I saw one of the promos they had for like an ad for like just some marketing. It was for a Denny's commercial.
Oh no!
And in this Denny's commercial, it's pretty simple. It's like they have like a stupid thing called like a thing burger. You know, looks ridiculous.
No! What? You're losing me.
Let me finish.
Okay. Go ahead. By all means.
Point is, it's this really fun, mundane thing of the thing just kind of ordering the thing burger at Denny's. But he's again, bear in mind, this has no bearing on the film. It's just the promo stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty much like there's an explosion, there's some chaos going on outside, and the thing is like this feels like a classic Ben Grimm moment, which is kind of made me raise an eyebrow. I was like, wait a minute, this is kind of like classic Ben Grimm. He's like, and he says, "Want me to wrap that to go, hon?" And I'm thinking, yeah, it's Ben Grimm. I mean, the CGI on the thing looked pretty good. And it was like he's acting like classic Ben Grimm. And I was saying, this is starting to look up a little. So that was like just kind of me. Basically, we were all kind of down the movie at this point, thinking, I don't know. It's like it's probably going to be a bomb. And then this is kind of the first glimmer of hope along with that one trailer. And then the big thing kind of raised my expectations. Not overly high, but got me at least on board to give it a chance again.
Okay.
So I'm listening, and you know about this, Steve. You can probably comment a little bit on this. Kevin Smith recently.
I only listened to the first part, to tell you the truth, because I got really busy.
You told me you watched all three.
So, no. I only did the first part because I got really busy with school and podcasting and stuff. So
I must have misheard you or something. Anyway, so the point is that Kevin Smith, he's had Josh Trank on talk about his career and kind of building up to the Fantastic Four in, ironically, 4 parts. And people, let's just say people after this movie are really anticipating the 4th part. But we'll get to we'll put a pin in that. We'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
The point is, I'm listening to Kevin Smith because I love Batman. He's kind of branched out more talking about just comic book stuff when he doesn't have any Batman news to work with at the moment.
Sure.
Pretty much, he had Josh Trank on. They talked about they talked about his career and also talked about Chronicle, and also at this time I rented. No, sorry, I didn't rent. I actually bought. It was just really cheap. It's like I bought Chronicle and I watched it and I was really impressed by it. Anyway, so
I've been telling you for like
you have
a year.
So there was that,
like,
and also
dude, watch Chronicle. Like, I'm telling you, if you want to get excited for Fantastic Four, watch Chronicle.
Basically, it was you telling me that, and it was like really cheap. And also, I heard it was on Fat Advantage. I kind of get into it. It sounded really interesting. And basically, sure. I picked it up. I watched it. I liked it. That was a big kind of thing that won me over for really raising my interest in the movie, along with hearing Trank on Fat Man Bad. And Trank sounds like a really nice, approachable guy. He sounds like he likes film.
He really comes across that way on social media.
Well, again, we'll get into that at the end. This is all building to a point, folks. You'll see. The point is, when he's just talking about filmmaking, it sounds like he knows his stuff, and he sounds like
no. By all means, yeah, I definitely respect the guy. And to tell you the truth, like, I am very much a believer in the auteur theory of, a director is going to do what he wants to do, and if he has a vision for a movie, he's going to stick to that vision.
Yeah.
And we've heard of, on-set reports and everything like that, and blah, da, 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 da. I'm not sure who's to blame in that. I'm sure he shares some of the responsibility.
We'll table that for the end, though. We'll table that sort of stuff for the end, like the response and stuff. But so the point is, I'm saying some stuff that's winning me over. He's really I've been kind of sold on him as a director with those two things, and kind of seeing Chronicle. I've been sold on the cast, with seeing Milestone and Whiplash, seeing G. Jordan and Chronicle.
Right.
And basically, the other thing is on Fat Man Batman, the most recent episode, the one that was like the week of the movie release, I guess. That's the one where they talked about the pre-production for the Fantastic Four, I guess.
Okay.
In particular, he talked about the casting more so, and he really kind of sold me on his choices. They were kind of mentioning why they're right for the role. I was like, okay, I can kind of buy this cast, and also in that they talked about
the fact that they were young never bothered me. I was just like, these are talented actors. These are legitimately talented actors. Every one of them.
I didn't know any of these.
Street cred.
I only knew Michael B. Jordan he voiced Cyborg a few times in the animated Justice League animated.
No, at this point in time, I've seen both Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller in like a few things by this point. So, granted, Miles Teller, it's actually kind of funny because he started out in a movie called Project X, and he played like the most obnoxious jerk. It's funny because he's branched out, and I can see that obnoxious jerk character that I don't like, and that I really, it's just part of his repertoire. If he can go from that to something like Whiplash, where he's very reserved but still very intense.
He's very he plays ambition very well, which is the reason he won me over for Reed. That was the thing that won me over for Reed Richards. I was thinking, if he can capture that ambition, I think he can do it.
For sure.
Anyway, so because Reed Richards is a very ambitious, driven guy, I think that's qualities you need for Reed Richards. That's what he sold me on. Anyway, so they're also talking about some ideas and concepts, and the biggest thing he said was going into this movie. A thing to bear in mind, which we'll really touch on, I guess, at the end after we kind of go through things here, is that Trank, the way he sold it, at least again the beginning here, and is that. He's taking chances in the origin here, so it's kind of his take on the origin, yes, and basically taking into consideration. I'm sure fans would have like a lot of reaction to it and everything, but basically, it's made with a lot of love for the Fantastic Four, and basically the hallmarks of the Fantastic Four they're building to those hallmarks, and if they at this point in time, and again he doesn't know when this is recorded, so basically there still are technically plans for Fantastic Four 2. Again, we'll get into that at the end.
Yeah.
Put them in. I got some news for you about that too, if you haven't heard about it already. So the point is,
currently Mission Impossible 2 not Mission Impossible
5.
2. Whatever the hell it's on.
5 is the current one.
Okay, yes. Currently that is number 1 at the box office.
That doesn't surprise me.
Track number 1.
Mission Impossible is kind of popular though.
Yeah.
And the point is, he said, the classic thing in a trench coat. Those are stuff he would build to in a sequel, and they'd earn it. But when he said he'd earn the classic Fantastic Four stuff while telling his own story, which I could understand. It's if he is doing, that's kind of what sold him the negative zone and stuff. Saying, you know what?
Okay.
If he is kind of doing kind of the classic, he's kind of doing the classic stuff. And basically, he said it was a lot of the Ultimate Comics influencing stuff, but also the original. First run of the first arc of the Jack Kirby Stan Lee story of basically the people getting along after terrible accidents occurred.
Right,
Which
yeah.
which kind of, again, those are the elements that kind of maybe didn't basically maybe give the movie a shot again of like, this could be good. We shouldn't just count it out because it's different. I can't. That
Well, I
was
could
my art.
definitely see you getting invested in the Trank interview with Kevin Smith. Like, I can definitely see that kind of pushing you over the edge for sure.
So that was the thing that kind of made me like, and after seeing Chronicle too, was like, man, this guy can make a movie, so this could be good.
And Chronicle from the beginning, man. Like, as soon as they announced Trank as the director, I was like, okay, like, I'm down for this. Because Chronicle, like, it just has such a raw quality to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It very much feels like kind of like a realistic sort of like, oh man, this is like a gritty sort of suburban environment that these kids are in, and then like with the powers, I don't know. I can.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But anyway, so.
No, it's all good. I'm just rambling.
Anyway, so basically where we are today is we're at the point where, well, we really wish Marvel had them now. Let's get into why. So let's go through the movie.
Well, I'm just saying from my point of view, I was excited about this movie because of Trank. And then I saw Stuckman's review, and I decided to not necessarily see it. So
you weren't unwise to do that. I'll give you that. You weren't unwise not to see it, but no, we'll get into it. So let's bear in mind, currently it holds a 9% rating. We're going to talk about it towards the end.
Oh boy!
So just bear that in mind. It currently holds a 9%.
So what I did do was I actually did get a hold of a camcorder copy or something like that. yeah. And so I watched that. And granted, it was very, very poor quality, so that was kind of the reason why I didn't want to stick through a lot of it. Yes, that was the reason, not the poor film. But from what I could tell, okay, so I saw, like, let's start at the beginning. I was really engaged with this whole dynamic between Reed Richards and Ben Grimm.
Yes.
So you want to start there because I was really, because the stuff I did see out of what I watched, it really did feel like, okay, like Ben and Reed are the heart of this movie.
Yes. Well, let me walk you. I'll walk you through this movie. Okay. So we start. You're absolutely right. That's to me, that's the best part of the movie. This dynamic between these two as kids, specifically.
Okay.
So we open the movie as we see in the trailers, and it's really well done here. We see a young Reed Richards and Ben Grimm kind of befriending each other. I kind of approach this in chunks, folks, but going as interesting as I can with it. So. This is the most compelling part of the film in this section of the movie. So it kind of breaks down the 3 acts, and let's just say the first act is probably the best act of the whole movie. So they befriend each other.
I mean, it really does have kind of like a Steven Spielberg, kind of like Goonies feel to it.
It feels very Goonies. It does feel very Goonies.
Yeah. Just like these smart kids, like trying to accomplish something.
So here's kind of the
draws you in.
So yeah, the film kind of starts with, first of all, there's kind of a subtle in joke. I think it starts in 2007 when they're kids here, and I think it's kind of a subtle nod to, well, last Fantastic Four movie was in 2007, so I'd like to think that's intentional. It has to be. Why choose 2007 out of all the years? Anyway, so. 2007, we started in like a classroom.
Miles Teller was that young in 2007. That makes me feel incredibly old.
No. I'm saying as kids, they age though. It's like, so in 2007 there were kids in school.
No, I know. I hear you. I'm just saying, like, if Miles Teller really was like as young as he was depicted there, like, I'm old. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm getting up there. Anyways.
Anyway, so also we have Dan Castellaneta as the teacher, by the way.
Right. I knew about that.
I thought it was kind of fun. You give Dan Castellaneta some work. The guy's good. Yeah, I remember him in Pursuit of Happiness. He was good in that one, too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Castellaneta's the teacher, and basically it's kind of like basically giving like an oral book report on like not book report, like you basically read off something and just basically say what you want, what career you want to look into.
Exactly.
Anyways, they're doing that, and importantly,
okay, I really like the opening lines of this, where it's like, before you even see anything, you're like, I always wanted to pitch for the New York Giants or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be Ben talking, but it wasn't.
Well, you know what? Yeah, they're. Let's just say I'll get into this a little more when we get to the part of it in the film where I need to bring this up. But let's just say I get a sense there are a lot of things cut out, and then the one clip from the trailer that was cut out of the film completely is like when Ben's playing baseball. So I don't know if maybe that was repurposed.
Oh, right. And also moving forward into the climax, the whole deal of like, oh, he's gonna drop in 2 minutes, maybe a little less.
Yeah, that's completely gone.
Yeah, completely gone.
Yeah.
Good job, marketing team.
I'll bring that up again later on.
Okay.
Okay, so the point is the big dynamic between these two is like, so in this classroom scene, it's Reed. He's called up there and he's given this career report. Essentially, it's really kind of as big as Reed Richards classically is. You know, he speaks in large kind of continuous chunks of dialogue, just kind of exposing all the technology and stuff. Points he basically says he wants to be the first person to teleport, and he says like he has a machine that can do. He's built in his garage, and there's the flying car reference to the Fantastic car. Oh, you're building your flying car. Says no, I'm not working on that anymore. With all the sincerity in the world, which makes me think that kid was actually working on the Fantastic car.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he was.
I think it's pretty cool. So again, I love all the young stuff with Reed and Ben here. And here's the interesting part. So Reed is principally, he's like the guy that can glue to his book. He's sketching ideas and like ideas and like designs and blueprints in his book, and say, Richards, snap out of it. Just oh yeah. And he goes up there and pretty much casts on just plays the thick-headed teacher here, saying, that's nice, but we need a real career. Rewrite it, come back, maybe we'll do it tomorrow.
Right.
And anyways, an important thing here. Here's the big connecting point. It sold me. Like again, it's kind of like the first act kind of gets me on board. I see what you're doing here. I kind of like this direction.
I hear you.
And basically, it's Ben Grimm in the back of the classroom. He's taking notice of Reed Richards. He's kind of saying, yeah. He's really.
You know what? At this point, I was kind of the same way. Like I was kind of struggling with the whole, it being recorded on a camcorder sort of thing. I was like, point it up so we can see the characters' faces. But I could still get what was going on. I was like, okay, I'm feeling it. It's like Reed and Ben, they're like two kids from kind of the same upbringing, but they have really different personalities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just kind of go together, like almost kind of like a yin yang or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like so. Reed Richards, he's basically kind of like, oh yeah, Dad, do your report tomorrow. He goes back to his desk, and then basically Ben Grimm come up next, and there's this really nice bit where like Ben Grimm, he's very inquisitive. I love how inquisitive this Ben Grimm is. He's like a regular kid, but he's like interested about Reed saying here. It's like
right.
I was like, no one's paying attention to this guy, but he has some good ideas. He sounds like he knows what he's doing. No one's giving him any time of day though. Basically, he's like walking towards the classroom, and he glances at Reed's book filled with like all these blueprints and notions and like all the equations and stuff. And it's like he gives that a little inquisitive look. I love how inquisitive this Ben Grimm is. I really do. Anyway, so then we basically see the bond here is idealistic kid and supportive, intrigued pal. That's kind of the dynamic. I think that works really well. Essentially, things progress. We see kind of the home lives are like real quick, and the idea is like so.
It's clobbering time.
Yeah, so let me tell you about that.
I know about that. I saw it.
Yeah, folks, I know it's pretty much because hopefully you'll watch this and not see the movie because I want to spare you that, folks. It's basically Ben Grimm. We see. Actually, this is kind of a neat idea. I like this idea because it gives we never really see the trailer of Ben Grimm.
Okay, well, first of all, I think the idea of like an abusive or not particularly savory household dynamic is, at this point, through two films, a Josh Trank staple. Would you say through Chronicle and this?
Yeah, but I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm just saying, like, brothers, it's a little more expected for them to be kind of a little.
Okay, well, I'm saying, like, that Chronicle, that element just.
Oh, I know that.
Really raw.
Yeah. That was, that's a kind of a different style of abuse, though. But I don't know.
Right.
I think you're on.
Right.
Basically,
I don't know. I'm just saying, like. To me, I felt like Ben Grimm's home life was like a really, like Josh Trank was trying to do that sort of dynamic that he had going in Chronicle, but he knew he had to do it a little lighter, so that's why he fit in the whole like, oh, it's clobbering time.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. This idea that I like seeing Ben Grimm's home life. It's like kind of real classic, kind of a New Yorker home life in the words of basically how his mother. Because I believe Ben Grimm, it's mentioned he has brothers and siblings, I think. And it's Yeah, I think it's like an actual comic thing. He has still has family around. Like, I know he has his Aunt Petunia. I remember that. It's like the running gag. He always mentions his Aunt Petunia. But it's interesting seeing like the Grimm scrapyard. So the idea of Ben Grimm's family, they own a scrapyard. It's kind of they make their income. That's kind of nice. Okay, well, kind of like a homespun kind of blue collar idea.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
And with that, we see he's got some brothers, and the clobbering times what the brother says when he's beating them up, and yeah, it comes back not really satisfyingly, but it's there. It's kind of a dark little origin for clobbering. Not the worst thing in the world, but could come back a lot better.
I'm just like I just thought it was really out of place because it's like it's supposed to be this. Like I get that it's Trank maybe kind of trying to tone it down a little bit in what could otherwise be a dark scene. Do you think that's what it was? Do you get that impression?
And I'm not sure about that. I think it's Trank just trying to legitimize. There's a lot of these things he's trying to kind of not that the Fantastic Four isn't legitimate, but it's just to kind of ground it in a way you can buy that a lot of this fantastical stuff will kind of come from
So you're saying that the whole like it's clobber in time is just kind of like a Brooklyn thing that he picked up from his brother.
I think it's a Brooklyn thing, but he gave meaning to it by making it part of a sadder scene.
Right. Okay.
And I think it had better intentions down the line, but they had to squeeze it in there for later on. But later on, it feels much more forced. But I'll get to that.
But it's like once again, it's like this is something that these damn movies can never get right. It's like they ruined its clobbering time in the first, the Fantastic Four, the first one, not the what I mean, not the stupid like fake one or whatever.
You don't mean the Corman one?
No. I don't. You know what I mean? The Fantastic Four from.
Yeah, you mean the 2005 Tim Story Fantastic?
Yes. Thank you.
They didn't ruin its clobbering time. That would sound kind of cool when he said it's clobbering time.
Okay, I'm saying that they ruined its clobbering time. In fact, in probably a more offensive way than this one did, because literally,
it was like a toy. You said it right.
Yeah, because like because he says it's clobbering time like at the very damn end of the movie.
Think about that though, Tiki. It's kind of an interesting idea that Ben Grimm. Where would he come up with its clobbering time? The marketing guys in some room somewhere says, "Well, okay,
I know, but it's just like the most obnoxious thing. It's just this toy. It's like it's clobbering time.
I don't know. It's okay.
I don't know. No, I don't like it. I don't like it. I resist that. It's
been a while since I really had to think about it, but it didn't really bother me at all. But I don't know. Maybe you're on to something. Maybe. I don't know. I got to think about it more. Anyway, the point is, so Reed is basically snuck into the Grimm scrapyard, and also he had this great thing where like Ben's mother comes in and says, "I know what you're trying to do." Basically, she saves her little boy and is chewing out the older brother. And I thought it was a really nice kind of New Yorker mom moment. Yeah, it's nice. That's Ben Grimm's home life, and you're
absolutely right. Like I mean, throughout this whole first 20 minutes or so, I was drawn in.
Yeah, I mean, 20 minutes again. The first act of this movie, including that 20 minutes, is the best part of the movie. So, I mean, that's the stuff that was like it should promise. Like they were.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so then basically they hear a commotion outside, and she's yelling at him on the side while she's disciplining the other brother. Go check what the commotion is. The dogs are barking at something. Ben goes there, scares the dogs away, and he's looking there, seeing what's going on. And it's Reed inside one of the cars. He's stealing some parts from the junkyard to build something. And he tells Ben about this. I know you're from school. He says, "Yeah, I'm trying to build something. You want to see it?" So Reed invites him with the part, and they're going to go to Reed's garage and see what he's building and help him build it. And it's he's building the teleport, putting the finishing touches on it. On the garage experience, the teleporter here. So basically, tons of technology kind of put together, a lot of scrap in there, but also like kind of like game cubes and everything. Looks
right, yeah.
Looks cool. I love this. This again, this is the idea. Kind of maybe really. This is in like the second trailer. Kind of got me a little more interested in the movie. It's like, yeah, I can see he's a young Reed Richards, ambitious. He's putting advance things together in his garage with Ben Grimm at his side. This is
very much like kind of like a Flight of the Navigator type vibe right here.
Yeah, it's like a Doc Brown sort of situation. He's building things with what he has around him, and it's looking really really neat. And it basically turns the thing on and kind of blacks out the whole neighborhood, but it does work though. So basically the teleporter is active, and they're transporting the little car. Transports the little car away, and then what comes back isn't the car, but it's little orange rock. So again, some thing foreshadowing, which I don't think was bad. And also, it's mentioned here, and I'm convinced it was cut out of the movie. I could be wrong. I don't know if I remember this wrong. I think it's like in the first trailer, if anything. It's like I could have sworn there's a Reed mentions he has a stepfather, and his mother and his
Yeah,
stepfather.
he does.
And with that stepfather, I'm getting a sense like there was a scene cut because I could have sworn it was in one of the trailers of his stepfather chewing him out saying, "You got to stop this sort of stuff." Because you can tell in the movie, like the stepfather is getting a little agitated at him, saying, "Reed, cut out whatever you're doing in there," because it's messing with the TV and shaking the house and everything.
That's a good point.
So I get a sense he doesn't really remember his parents fondly, particularly his stepfather. So I'm getting a sense that the father was probably. I'm not saying full blown Chronicle dad, but
oh god.
I'm saying probably not a supportive guy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, anyway, so 7 years later, we go 7 years later. This is after 2007, which kind of gets us 2014, and we're going to advance a year within the story to get to 2015.
Yeah.
Let's just we'll get into that. Okay, so the point is they have a science fair, and Reed he demonstrates in front of Dan Castellano, so he gets like a K through 12 kind of school, maybe. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of people bring that up as a plot hole, so I got nothing. It's already been addressed.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's like there are schools that do like the whole grade system. I don't know if there are any more, but I mean they used to for a while.
Hey man, if I had Dan Castellaneta as my teacher from I'd be like, yeah, I'm down.
It'd be like a neighboring school. I don't know. I don't really care. The point is, Dan Castellaneta's there.
He could have moved schools. I know people that have moved from middle schools to high schools.
Yes, Mr. Richards. Oh!
This is where the movie started to lose me a little bit.
I think there are a few gripes I have in the first act, but again, had the other acts have been much stronger.
Having said that, I still like the dynamic between Miles Teller and whoever's playing Ben Grimm.
Yeah, Jamie Bell.
Yeah, Jamie Bell. I still think that they had a really good dynamic going on.
Again, first act, their dynamic fantastic, and everything's working fine with them.
Right, exactly. Like, I was really drawn into these two characters, and like, you know, and their kind of like buddy like dynamic that they had going on is like opposing sort of, you know, they were kind of like polar opposites in a way, but they were drawn to each other because of that.
Yeah, like they're drawn to the same thing, but for different reasons, and because they bond over that. Like one knows something, the other one doesn't. Like, you know, I assume Ben's more personable, Reed's the intellectual who can explain stuff to him and spark Ben's interest. I think it's a really great idea for their friendship and stuff.
And I mean, they went so much into it because, like, I feel like that. You know what? I'm just going to go, like, I've seen, like, 40 minutes of this movie, and granted, I know I haven't seen the worst parts of this movie, so what can I say? But
again, you're in the safe zone so far with that. I'm just saying.
Okay, but all I'm saying here is that the quote-unquote safe zone, the first act of this movie, I'm just going to say it. It's better than anything in the other two Tim Story Fantastic Fours.
You know, Tiki, I'd like to say that, but given what happens preceding that, I don't think I can, because it just...
I know, and that's where you're going to have to paint the picture for me.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'd like to say that. I mean, maybe better than two, but I think one has a lot of good ideas.
I actually like two better than one, but
I mean, there are great bits in two, like Silver Surfer. He looks great, and
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I like two just for Silver Surfer.
I'm saying there are elements in two, and like I love seeing the wedding kind of come to fruition at first. And, the elements in two, and I think one gets like the hallmarks of Fantastic Four really well.
I very much disagree with that.
Okay, Barrett, with the exception of Doom, I think it gets the hallmarks of them pretty good.
So would the hallmarks of the Fantastic Four be?
I'm saying I think the third act,
dicking around and doing sitcom antics for most of the movie.
I gotta remember that's kind of the Fantastic Four, just them kind of bouncing off of each other,
just dicking around.
I'm saying kind of. I'm just saying I think the third act of that movie's fine. I like the third act.
All right.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but I do like the third act of that movie.
Yeah. Well, you know, of course, this is where we're gonna. But I will tell you the first thing that bothered me. The first thing that bothered me was.
Well, I know what you're gonna talk about. Can I build to it?
Yeah, sure.
It's about the science fair, right?
It's about Dan Castellaneta's reaction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes. Okay.
So basically, they're demonstrating the thing here. They borrow a plane from a kid, which comes back visually, not a huge thing, but comes back visually later on. not a big thing. Point is, I borrow a model from a kid because apparently Ben forgot the car, which I thought was pretty funny. That Ben, of all the things, he has to remember the model car, and he forgets it. So the point
I can totally see J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson somehow being a teacher grilling these two kids.
It'd be hilarious if he was the judge for this kind. It doesn't make perfect sense what happens if it was him.
Oh God! Oh God!
Are you rushing or are you teleporting?
And somehow being the Whiplash character at the same time.
Yep.
Oh God.
Anyway, so the point is, it's they teleport the plane, demonstrating the thing works. You tell them like cover your ears. It's I think that's I thought that was a funny run. Cover your ears and stand back.
Yeah.
So they demonstrate. Obviously, it works. It teleports the thing and they bring it back. Works like a charm. Things covered in some orange dust, but they speculate it might be from a different part of this planet, so that they don't know where exactly it's from. But still, the orange dust. So the point is that that's proof in the pudding that the thing works. Obviously, it works.
Mm-hmm.
But it breaks the backboard with like the sonic shock waves, I suppose. And then basically Dan Castellano says, well, basically you're disqualified. That doesn't count. They're pretty much like, I think it just says that he's disqualified because it's stupid reason. I'll admit this is
this to me, it's just like, okay, that's really sloppy writing because he obviously like. Come on, Dan Castellaneta. Dan Castellaneta, he says something to the extent of like, "Oh, we don't allow magic here, Mr. Richard."
Yeah, he said essentially
that's only in the Marvel Cinematic Universe when they get to Doctor Strange. We only have Doctor Doom.
Yeah, well, kind of. Anyway, so
yeah, exactly.
Essentially, he's saying this is a place is fair for science, not magic tricks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it seems really stupid. Again, had the movie been better, I would have just said, "Well, it's a contrivance you need." So I give it a pass. But the guy's stupid. That's the thing. It's just the Dan Castellano character is stupid, and he's supposed to be stupid for the purposes of the plot. But otherwise, I would have given it a pass. But because of the way the movie turns out, you're right. That is a big gripe within the first act. But again, bear in mind, that's a gripe compared to what comes.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I'm saying there are two gripes within the first act that, again, had the movie been better, would give it an exception. But no.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, Dan Castellaneta there, he disqualifies him. Teleport again, obviously works. Then Dr. Storm, played by Reg E. Cathy. For those who may not know, he was one of the bank robbers in The Mask, and also he was the homeless man in American Psycho.
And again, he does a really good job. I think he has a really good presence here.
Yeah, he's good. I liked him in the movie. Yeah, he was good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Dr. Storm and Sue, they happen by, and pretty much they offer Reed a scholarship to the Baxter Building, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. Well,
the point is, I love just kind of the reveal of the Baxter Building.
So you're thinking like in the first act, you're like, okay, this is going along. Like this definitely does seem like the roots of Reed Richards here.
Yeah. Basically, that's the mindset. I kind of went into this movie with the mindset I come in with a lot of the reboot movies. Is that usually I've been kind of proven wrong in this to my delighted surprise. But I come into a lot of these reboots with the intent of, it'll be a good like alternative take on it. So basically, I have whatever take I've held true up to that point. Then on the side here, I'll have a take. It'd be like it's like an Elseworld story. It's a reimagining, which will be fine. And with Spider-Man, it kind of redefined things for me. It's like, I could actually see this being the main guy. But of course,
exactly, yeah.
So I'm saying it's subject change. And that's why I came in this movie with that mindset of, it'll be maybe a good thing on the side. Maybe it'll surprise me, be really good. I might, beyond all beliefs. There's not really a high bar set. It could be the best one. I don't know. Anyway, so they go to the Baxter Building. Again, we're getting some good hallmarks of the Fantastic. We're earning them, like he said, so far. So I'm saying, okay, we're kind of earning these a little. And there's a really touching, heartfelt little goodbye here to Ben Grimm, because Ben, I love the fact, it's so simple, but I love how Ben helps Reed move.
Right. It kind of reminds you of the Sherman Brothers a little bit.
Yeah, it's basically the Baxter Building here is kind of like, it's also like an institute/lab. It's like it's not exactly a college because they build the stuff here too.
Right. It's almost kind of like the nerd school from Big Hero 6 in a way.
It's kind of that, but it's also kind of like a secret government base underneath, I guess. I don't know. The point is it's a lab. I don't know. I guess it's
not very well defined.
point is, there's a base later on where let's just say they have the technology and it seems very similar in the set design, so it looks almost identical. So that's why I'm a little confused on where they are.
Okay.
But anyway, so the point is we're in the Baxter Building, which is also kind of like the Baxter Institute, which looks kind of nice. It's not a bad idea. Okay, making the Baxter. If you wanted to later on, just say, okay, well they refurbished it to an apartment somewhere.
Sure.
Plus they have dorms. Makes sense.
Oh,
So the point is Ben helps Reed move into his dorm room, and there's a really nice bit where early on when they're fixing when they were building the teleporter, Reed his whatever device he was using broke, and basically Ben used his not pocket knife, but his Swiss Army knife. Yeah. He was like a little Swiss Army knife to turn a screw or something, and basically he gave that to Reed as a going away gift. He said, "Well, we're only like a few blocks or something away. I don't know if it was blocks, but I'm only 45 minutes away or something." He says, "Well, it's you belong here, Reed. Face it." It was a really nice bit. Yeah. Pretty much, it's Ben saying, "Hey, I'm with you. This is a little visual symbol that I'm with you. You belong here, buddy. You've earned it. Take it. So I know you're gonna be like sleeping nights here. You might as well just accept that."
And at this point, I'm kind of phasing out.
Wait, this little interaction here, or is it just what?
No. I'm saying I'm kind of, at this point when I was watching the movie, I'm kind of phasing out.
Wait, so you're saying the Ben Grimm thing is kind of losing you now?
No, not necessarily the Ben Grimm thing. Just the whole I kind of sense the direction that this is going to go in, and I'm kind of like at this point I'm already kind of seeing I kind of want to just fast forward at this point.
My jumping off point was directly at the start of Act 2.
Okay.
Anyway, so then we introduced to Tim Blake Nelson's character, who is like he's Dr. Allen or something, or we'll just call him Tim Blake Nelson. Doesn't really make a difference.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I sense like we could have had him as the leader while this was filming.
I know, right?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. could have used him. Anyway, so the point is, basically, he's the program head for the teleportation project. Where he's saying, we invested for 6 years, we invested millions and millions of dollars. The thing from the trailer. Dr. Storm pretty much saying, we can't keep doing this. We're not getting any results. Like, there's no application for this. Which again, that's another. I'll admit that's another gripe. But of course, there's application for this. It's teleportation.
Right. Exactly.
And also, here's a dumb thing that I don't know what the intention was for this or what got screwed up when they were filming this. But the original intention that was at least on every cast listing and everything was that Tim Blake Nelson was playing a version of the Mole Man. Who was the first Fantastic Four villain. Now, I didn't expect them to go full Mole Man route with it, but I expected them to do something with this guy, and let's just say they really don't. And it's like his name is similar to the Mole Man's other identity, and point is, it's like completely pointless if they meant him to be a Mole Man because they do nothing with this. I'm going to assume they pulled like a Jenny Olsen where they intended it to be something and they realized.
Oh, right, exactly.
Basically saying, let's go this route, and they realize, there's no point in it because we're not going to do anything with this guy. Just he's Dr. Allen. Stupid.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume they want that route because there's no indication that he's actually Mole Man or anything. So anyone going into that there's expect no Mole Man. So boy, he's just the kind of schwarmy department head guy. The guy saying we got to make money. Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty typical Tim Blake Nelson role.
Yeah, it's a shame because Tim Blake Nelson's a good actor.
I know, he is.
He's okay in the role. He just doesn't get anything to do, really. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway, so let's see. So again, formerly had some Mole Man potential, no longer the case. And then Dr. Storm here pretty much says, okay, so with this project, now just give me a chance. I'm going to show you the thing works, but we also need someone else to join us on this project. So we got Reed Richards. You can't bank everything on Reed Richards. I mean, he built the thing in a garage. Okay. Remember who started?
You can't bank anything on Reed Richards, but you got to pull in like an ex-criminal.
Yeah. Now here's the points of the movie. I don't know if you saw this part or not.
I did not. Not.
Here's something right here. This is so they mentioned Victor Von Doom. They fully embrace Victor Von Doom is the name. There was Trank brought up the notion of maybe getting a different name, but they just couldn't. It didn't work when they were working on the story on that one. So they embraced fully Victor Von Doom. But they made fun of it though. They made fun of like the name Doom though, so they didn't just completely ignore it. So there's points there.
Sure.
Point is, basically, the Dr. Storm brings up involving Doom, who the idea here is that Doom started this whole teleportation project, and then he kind of like he wanted out of the thing because he was. Point is, the guy has some he's not psychotic, but he has like delusions of grandeur, kind of like that. He's kind of like not just antisocial, but the point is like the guy has like maniacal tendencies. It would seem.
I mean, does he have like any sort of a record?
I don't know if it's a record. No one likes him pretty much, and they just say like.
Okay, so that's it.
So Tim Blake Nelson's character says, we really know. Are you insane? This guy actually, he says like this guy should be locked up in prison or something. I don't know. I guess they don't say what he did though. That's an issue. They just,
so that's really vague.
It's really vague, but the point is, I like how they address right off that. We can't trust, essentially, without saying it, they say, we can't trust a guy named Doom. What are you, insane? Which I'm saying, I'm giving them points for basically right off the bat saying the thing the other Fantastic Four movie didn't learn from is that we can't trust Doom. What's wrong with you?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm giving them points for that.
Oh, man, they were constantly trusting Victor in those Fantastic Four movies.
And the idea here is that it's just that Doom is... involving Doom in this is a mistake, but he started the project and we need him to finish it. So that was the disagreement that they're working with there. So then we see Sue and Reed meeting each other. It's this cute little library scene where pretty much they established kind of their interest here, and it's kind of like here's an idea I liked in the beginning. It did not pan out whatsoever. I liked that the idea they weren't just instantly a couple or anything. It was like they're kind of building off of like kind of opposites attracting sort of thing. Like they're both interested in science, but they're both kind of, and similarly they're both wrapped up in their own works, their own worlds when they get into science.
I think the actress who played Sue was probably the worst casting out of the main cast.
Yet still better than Jessica Alba.
Oh God, yes, actually, yes.
I think again, I don't think we should blame her. I think I'm blaming the script and stuff on that one of her because I think she could have been a good. I don't know. I saw
from what I've seen, we need to wrap this up because I'm.
Oh yeah. No, maybe we still got a movie to go here.
I know.
Okay, look, I'll try to speed through as best I can.
All right.
So, okay, basically her thing is music patterns. His thing is Captain Nemo, and basically they're kind of bonding over like she listens to music while she works, and basically she listens to it for the scientific application of hearing the patterns within it.
Right. I actually think I did kind of skim through and see that scene. I was like, oh, Captain Nemo reference, Jules Verne, right on. Okay.
Anyways, basically she predicts like you're here for the fame, then Reaver just says, no, I'm not here for the fame. I'm here to make the world a better place. Okay, kind of a Jim Henson philosophy. I can dig that. And then basically, so hints of a relationship. We meet Dr. Storm goes see Dr. Doom here. He visits Victor Von Doom, and I like Victor Von Doom more than Dr. Doom in this movie. I mean, I thought. Basically he is from Latveria, so they got that there. The idea he's like a genius shut-in, like he's on computers. That's where people blew things out of proportion. He uses computers in the scene. He's not like a hacker or anything.
Not like Lex Murphy from.
Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say hacker. He's not a blogger. That's the thing. Everyone thought he was like blogger and stuff. It's just he's on the computer. That's all for one scene. It's fine. Just the idea.
Lex Murphy from Jurassic Park, who of course famously stated, "I'm a hacker."
Anyway, so the idea with Doom, the reason he left the project is because he has an ego. So they kept the Doom ego, which I thought was points to them for. So again, first act, they're kind of selling me on this guy. He has like the ego of Dr. Doom, and I like that. The point is like he's saying he's very anti-government. So he's basically like instantly he calls out Dr. He makes somewhat valid arguments telling Dr. Stone, well, are you here because your boss says, well, I don't work for them. He says, oh yeah, sure, well, you're here, aren't you? Essentially pointing at it, yeah, you do work for a boss, you just don't know it. So the point is, like, that's his thing, and basically says, well, the reason I'm here, well, we don't even really need you. I saw I'd let you know the project has been reopened, trying to bait him into the thing. Reed Richards, he brings up Reed Richards, which sparks a little bit of jealousy, and also he asks if Sue's there, and then he's interested. Yeah, it doesn't pan out at all. Sorry. So then the three unite. Dr. Storm gives some advice about working together. Doom's not crazy about Reed Richards at all. So right off the bat, you have the Doom not liking Reed Richards, which is kind of fun. Basically, then the idea is brought up by Doom himself, saying like, we're gonna go through once the bridgeway is open. Once the teleport is built, we're going to be the guys to go through. And Reaver's like, us? Yeah, us. As soon as you build it first. So then, the idea is like it's interdimensional transport to Planet Zero or the negative zone, which it pretty much is, but they call it Planet Zero. It's not the worst thing in the world.
I don't mind it.
Anyway, so then we meet Johnny Storm. He's drag racing. The car burns out, little visual symbolism of Human Torch to come. He's speeding, and then he eventually crashes into something. He's in the hospital. It's like a broken arm or something. Dr. Storm bails him out there. Not bails him out. He picks him up, and he shoves him out in the car. Telling him, well, what are you doing? You're better than this. And then essentially, now there was an idea Josh Trank brought up that sounded really interesting, and I'm assuming a lot of it was cut out. Basically, an idea that they address it a little bit later on, but it's the idea that the Sue Storm was adopted by Dr. Storm when he was like overseas in another country.
Right.
Essentially, he kind of rescued her as a young girl, and basically took her in, and that's the idea. And the idea is like you pick. Johnny is maybe a little jealous of Sue. He loves Sue, but he's probably a little jealous of her because he's kind of Dr. Storm's pride and joy. Because, well, you were picked, not me. I mean, I'm saying,
exactly.
I'm a son. I was born into this. I mean, he sought you out specially. I mean, you're special. That's why he picked you. He likes you. So that was the idea. It doesn't really come across, but like hints of maybe he's a little jealous of Sue. But it wasn't like too bad or anything. There was like the hint of it there at first. Like, it didn't get paid off at all. Again, it was basically the idea here is the reason Johnny Storm is on the Fantastic Four is that he's an engineer. He's really good at building stuff. Again, he built the car. He was racing it from scratch, so he's good at building things. And Dr. Storm.
Do you think that's flimsy, or do you think it holds up?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, he comes from his father's a scientist. I don't think it's that much of a lie.
Okay.
I think it makes sense. And the idea, he's an engineer. He built the car from scratch, and he says, "Well, that car is mine." He says, "Well, you don't get it back." Right? Well, that car is mine. I built it but with my own hands. He says, "We have with my money." So if you want to, basically, it's like kind of like a fun summer job type premise of like, well, if you want that car, you gotta work on this project. You gotta work on the interdimensional transport project if you want to earn that car back. So that's kind of how we stymie.
I have to go into another dimension.
It doesn't force him to go to the other dimension, but basically build the thing.
Yeah, I know.
Like community, like a summer job, pretty much.
Sure.
So he stymies him in the coming on the project. Michael B. Jordan brings the charm here. He's good in the movie. He's probably the best. He gives the best performance in the movie, probably.
I think Michael B. Jordan's like no matter where you see him, and he's just charming as hell, even if he's in a bad movie.
Basically, here's the charming scene. Again, this is the issue I have later on, is that we had a good introduction like this, but nothing comes from it. It's basically like Michael B. Jordan, he's charmed. The idea he knows Doom before, because again, Doom started the project. They have a really rocky relationship, no pun intended. Basically, like Doom says, "Oh yes, you're working on this. You have a broken arm and everything. Well, I can still build." And that point is, so Doom is like. Reed Richards says, "Excuse me, can you give me a hand?" He says, "Oh no, he doesn't take orders well, Richards." "No, I don't take orders well from people who say he doesn't take orders well."
Yeah, that's in the trailer.
That was a good line. Anyway, so a really sweet moment, really understated moment. He goes to Reed Richards, and Reed Richards, he doesn't care about anything associated with this guy. He just says, "Oh hi, what's your name?" He says, "Johnny." Basically, shake names. Sorry, they shake. Sorry, it sounds stupid.
Good job.
They shake hands and basically they introduce each other. It's like, "Oh yeah, what can I help you with? Okay, you know how to weld?" It's a really nice little thing. We had a montage of them building the thing. Building montage. We see Reed and Sue. They're starting to hit it off with like talk of her origin, like how she was adopted, and Reed feeling like he doesn't belong. Basically his parents didn't get him and stuff. Doom is kind of you got a bit of Doom jealousy, but I like how they undercut. They don't go the conventional route with it in this first act here. It's just that you get a sense he doesn't like Reed talking to her. And then he walks over, he's about to like chew him out, saying, "There's work to be done." I love this part though. Reed just says, "Yeah, we're done." "Wait, what?" He says, "Yeah, we're done." So then pretty much like, "Yeah, we're all celebrating, hooray, we're finished the project." Then Timberlake Nelson comes by there and. Timberlake Nelson. He walks by there and he says, "Okay, we're good. Yay, we wrapped the project. Very proud of you guys. We're going to get some astronauts. We're going to get them in that thing." They tested it out too. So they tested it out with a chimp, and it was a bad CG chimp.
And this is, I figured, and this is where it pisses them off, and Michael, and they get drunk, right?
Yeah. Oh, you know about this?
Dude, I've seen like Brad's review, and I've seen a bunch of reviews. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, they get basically get schnockered after they get kind of bummed out about this. So it's Storm, Dr. Storm, and Sue. They're working on Nelson, trying to convince him to let him go. And the thing is, they again Doom kind of put the idea in everyone's head, let's go in ourselves. The three get liquored up, and there's really I kind of like this idea here. So yeah, giving some credit to this. That Doom is well, they're all getting schlockered. Doom explains that in history, you know, the drivers and the frontmen are the ones that always get the credit, not the designers and the guys behind the thing.
Right.
You know, and Reed Richards has a bad idea because he's drunk. He says, "Well, let's do it, man." This is like a Trankian type thing here. This is like Josh Trank, kind of like this is like his young people influence on the movie, like how he did Chronicle. These guys kind of BSing around a space, kind of talking to each other, and kind of come up with a wacky idea. So basically,
and then all hell breaks loose because of said wacky idea.
Yeah, he says, "Well, let's do it. You know, let's put our flag down there. You know, let's get some footsteps. It'll take 5 minutes. You know, it sounds kind of funny when you look at it like that. So again, we're still in good territory here. We're almost in the bad spot. So then he calls Ben Grimm. This is a real sweet moment. He calls Ben Grimm up, and he's still drunk. He's calling him, saying, "Well, Ben, listen, we're getting ready to go on this thing. You deserve to be here. You and I started this all. I won't go without you. I won't go without you." He says, "Okay." It's real nice. They meet. You know, he comes back and visits them, and they're all suiting up, and like there's a little quick meet and greet. Like, "Oh yeah, this is Ben Grimm. Hi, you guys sure you're up for this?" Yeah. No,
they're bouncing on the chairs.
Yeah, it's a little silly. Yeah, it's kind of okay. It's kind of funny. I don't know. Anyway, so they go.
It'd be funnier if it wasn't like rammed into our heads in the trailer a million times.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so they go. Sue catches on to this because apparently nobody else pays attention to the security monitor. Goes off saying, "Hey, thing's in use. The thing's in use."
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
it's about as efficient as the sand thingy majigger from Spider-Man 3. Oh, it's just a bird.
Yeah, but again, so that's just a silly thing. But I would give it a pass. Again, so they make it. They're there. There's a nice visual spectacle. The place looks pretty nice. There's like Johnny Storm like takes a picture of the place, which I thought was kind of funny. Like he selfies it or tweets it or something. I think he says something like, "I'm totally tweeting this" or something. I don't know.
Or it's going up on YouTube or something.
Well, not YouTube, but like he's Instagram maybe.
Instagram. I think it was Instagram. Yeah.
Probably Instagram. So Johnny stays behind because he's not crazy enough to go down there. Because basically Reed and Vic and Ben they decided to go down and check out what the green energy is we see in the landscape. Because Victor's power hungry, you know, he touches the thing, and basically his biochemistry interacts with the bioelectricity in this green energy liquid sort of thing. It causes a reaction. It basically sends the place is cracking, going to heck. Earthquakes are happening. It's a bad reaction, I guess. Basically they're running back. They're kind of chased by this green energy. They're climbing up the cliff they just hopped down from. Unfortunately, Doom, he gets wrapped up in the green stuff at Dragon. A really kind of neat idea to give him the Doom look because it basically grafts the suit onto him in a really horrific way.
Yeah. Like throughout all the transformation scenes, which I did see, I kind of skimmed through to that because I heard they were really gruesome. And I gotta admit, this is definitely the point where it definitely feels the most like Trank being Trank, and he's really getting into the hardcore kind of like, you know, brutality of it all, of what it would actually be like to go through something like this.
Yeah, we're still in first act territory here. We're still in the good here. We're almost out of first act here. Like after the action's when we get out of first act. So pretty much, you know, Victor, he's caught in the thing, and that's why, you know, he's stuck in the dimension. They get out of there. Really cool. I love this idea though of like how I like this idea how they get their powers. You know, it's no spaceship, but it's kind of neat though. So as they're getting in the thing, basically Sue catches on to it. She finally gets a signal. She's trying to send them back. There's a difficulty as she's trying to do it. Meanwhile, basically, because things are going to heck and all around them, the thing's getting a little broken, they can't close the doors. And when they're doing that, when they're being transported, at the same time being transported while things are going to heck, like Ben's bombarded by rocks, Johnny catches on fire, and I believe he gets his limbs caught in the doors as the thing transports.
I really, really like this idea.
Anyway, as they transport, so they come back, and because of like all the stuff going around it, and basically it wasn't like a scientific procedure or anything. It wasn't like all clean cut like it was before. When they come back, there's like a big force field blast that kind of hits Sue, and like it hits her. because she didn't go in the thing, remember? So she just, they basically, the force field hits it, that explains the force field, no explanation for the invisibility, don't ask.
I won't. I've heard there's problems with that.
Bugs me, but still, I kind of like the force field idea of like, okay, there's an aftermath. And then there's one of the best shots in the whole movie, one of the best parts of the movie here, is when this is like the whole selling point of the movie from Trank and everyone is that. So after the frantic return, they're here, and basically like the aftermath is Reed Richards he's groggy, he wakes up and like the whole place is in shambles. Johnny's like kind of a burnt out corpse. It looks,
and it's horrific, man. It really is.
Yeah, he's like covered in like some like dirt and stuff. And he's walking around, not walking around. He's dragging himself. Okay, here's the most moving part again. The Ben Grimm stuff pays off right here. So basically, he hears Ben off in the distance because he's caught in the thing rock. He's caught in the giant pile of rocks. He's, Reed, help! Reed, where are you? Help me! Really good stuff. And Reed's like, Ben. And he's like crawling to him, and then he realizes as he's like tapping on the rock, because his legs are caught underneath like a burger, and then he turns back and he realizes my legs have been stretched out. Then he passes out because of the shock of it. Because it freaks him out. It's like, oh my god! And then he passes out. Then he awakens, and they're all in their little cells. And this is shot in an insane asylum. Reed's all stretched out. The effects on Mr. Fantastic look really good in this movie, I think.
They do. Yeah.
So the point is, he's all stretched out, and there's a real tragic part that I have a little gripe with where it takes us in the second act in a minute. He's looking around. He's like, "Where's Ben? Where are my friends? Where's Ben?" And they won't answer. Like the signs, can you move your? It's really clinical, really scarily scientific, really horrific aftermath of this thing. It's like, can you move your fingers? Because the idea is because his limbs are like a Stretch Armstrong, he can't really move them at this point yet. Like they're all
right.
It's like they increase and like they don't answer him, just increase anesthetic, really creepy. Like, oh, poor guy. We cut to the other ones. We see Sue. She's invisible. Dr. Storm says, "I want to see my children. I know this is my fault. I want to see my children." They're in Area 57 during all this. She's invisible. The really horrific thing is that Johnny's on fire. It's really scary. It's like the effects on him look good. At first, he's like a burning corpse on a coroner's table, it looks like. But he's like on fire. Then he awakens and he's just freaking out. Like he just bursts the glass in the room because just his fire. It's like if you realize you're on fire after you woke up from this.
Oh my God! Yeah,
and then of
like
course,
I said, I think at this point it very much does kind of have the Cronenberg kind of fly scanners thing going on.
Yeah, that's the big thing they were going for. We're going for a big fly influence.
Right.
Okay, here's kind of the close of the first act, which is the best part of the movie. So say goodbye to Act 1 after this moment. So Reed Richards, he hears Ben through the air vent, and he climbs through the air vent, stretching the whole way through, which is kind of cool. Because he can't control his powers. He's just stretching all the way through. And he's like, someone, Reed, where are you? Ben. He sees him down the air vent, and he just gets a glimpse of him. Like seeing Ben like trapped in the rock halfway, like his arms out, but he's just still freaking out. And basically the alarms sound like they realize Reed's escaped and says, listen, Ben, I'll find you. I'm coming back, Ben. Don't worry. It's a really horrific thing. He feels so bad. He wants to help Ben, but he just can't at the moment. And he escapes, and then that's the end of Act 1, and Act 2 is when everything goes. Act 2 is the worst part of the movie.
And with that, I am so sorry to do this to you. I hate to do this to you. But, well.
Yeah?
I'm sorry. I really think it'd be better if we did it as a part 2 tomorrow, because I literally, can't speak.
All right, well, let's just say goodbye to Act 1 real quick then.
Yeah. Let's just, in this video is essentially, everything that this movie did right.
So, I guess, can you give thoughts on, what you thought of Act 1, the good stuff?
I mean, like I said, I didn't see all of it because I just saw a camcorder copy and it was kind of crappy, so I was kind of skipping around. But I definitely was engaged with the stuff with Ben and Reed as kids. And I also thought Jamie Bell and Miles Teller had a good dynamic going on. In general, I thought, especially with I thought the end of Act 1 was really well executed, just in terms of the whole scanners and fly element they had that they were kind of teasing the whole time. So in my mind, I was really kind of okay, essentially, I still, I'm sure it'll be bad, and I'm curious to see just how bad it gets.
Oh, you're going to see how bad it gets.
Well, that'll be the cliffhanger that we'll have for this episode then, because it's just all downhill from here, I assume.
Yep, it's just like, so again, so first, here's the setup for next part, folks.
Okay,
Just
okay.
Act 1. Interesting ideas. I mean, basically, it's like a little progression of like, okay, I'm getting on board for this. Okay, into some directions. I mean, they even sold me on the plan. It's like, okay, well, this is a way of getting the powers. It seems like kind of a cool little frantic-y, kind of aftermathy event. It's like, yeah, they're treating this realistically. I kind of, this is interesting. I'm kind of sold in this other dimension, the way they pulled off this origin here. So far,
Exactly.
so good. We'll see where it goes. Again, so Act 1, we got some good stuff building into the first act 2. Where does none of the here's the issue of the movie. None of this pays off. None of this interesting stuff that's set up in Act 1 pays off.
Okay.
Not a one. Not a one thing.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I'm very sorry to do this to you. I'm just
You think we should do this in 4 parts?
I mean, if you want to, if you can stretch it out that long.
Oh, we can stretch it. We break it down by accident, like in response to all the news and stuff for the last one.
Okay, let's do it. Sure, as long as it's like one at night.
Yeah, that's what well, I mean, we can just make it sure only going by acts. It's not like the whole thing.
Okay. Well, we'll see. But yeah, maybe we can do that. All right, sounds good.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson it up.
Act 1, good stuff. Act 2,
right.
not so good stuff. We'll see.
Oh god. And then Act 3, I hear, is just awful.
Well, you'll see.
All right.
Don't count it out exactly. You'll see.
Fair enough. Okay, well, like we said, I definitely think that they established a good kind of like almost, I want to say, like Flight of the Navigator meets the Goonies kind of vibe in the first 10 or so minutes with young Ben and Reed. But after that, I was just kind of like, even before Act 1 even ended, I was almost like, all right, there's stuff in here that I can still kind of follow along with and be enthusiastic about, but I'm also losing it in some of like the plot holes we were talking about and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's a very mixed bag.
Compared to other plot holes, those are just like kind of minor like gripes of like, okay, they get drunk and then they don't win the science fair. It's really, in the grand scheme, gripes.
Fair enough. So,
but they build upon each other. That's the problem.
Right. In the next of the 4 installments, we'll be getting into the real gripes. Oh God.
Yeah.
All right. So, any last words, BlueDragonFive, before we sign off?
Well, this is the semi-fantastic part. The rest are just it's not so fantastic.
And it's going to be clobbering time for the movie.
Clobbering time.
All right. See you guys later.